Welcome back to Books and Bites. We take those books that you've been meaning to read and we give you the deep dive that you need to actually sound informed at your next cocktail party.
That's right. And today we are tackling 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos by Jordan Peterson. It's a book that has sparked a lot of conversation and, frankly, a bit of controversy, too.
And we're not shying away from that. We'll unpack the rules, the philosophy, and yes, even the lobsters. But first, for those who haven't cracked the spine yet, what's the big idea here? What is Peterson trying to get across?
At its core, the book is about navigating this delicate dance between order and chaos. Order represents the structures, the known, the things that give us a sense of security. Chaos, on the other hand, is the unknown, the unpredictable. It's where we encounter challenges, but also where we have the potential for growth.
So it's not about eliminating chaos entirely. Because, let's be honest, who hasn't had a day that felt like pure, unadulterated chaos?
Exactly. Peterson argues that instead of fearing chaos, we need to learn to dance with it, to find that sweet spot where we have enough structure to feel grounded, but enough openness to new experiences to actually evolve.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but let's get specific. How does Peterson suggest we actually do this? Because I think we could all use a little less chaos and a little more order in our lives.
Well, he lays out 12 rules, each offering a different lens through which to approach this balancing act. And it all starts with a rather unexpected creature, the lobster.
Lobsters. I'm guessing this isn't a cookbook?
Not quite. Peterson uses lobsters to illustrate the biological roots of hierarchy. He points out that even these seemingly simple crustaceans have a social pecking order, with dominant lobsters enjoying higher serotonin levels, a neurochemical linked to feelings of confidence and well-being.
So basically, even lobsters have their own version of a corporate ladder. And the higher they climb, the better they feel.
In a nutshell. And here's where it gets interesting. Peterson argues that humans aren't so different. We also have social hierarchies, and our position within them can impact our brain chemistry and behavior.
Which brings us to his first rule. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Now, I'm no slouch, but I've never thought of good posture as a key to success.
Well, think about it. When you stand tall, you not only project confidence, but you might actually start feeling more confident, too. It's about embodying that dominant lobster, even if you're facing an intimidating situation.
So it's not just about appearances. It's about literally shifting our physiology to influence our psychology. I can see how that to be a powerful first step.
Exactly. And it sets the stage for taking ownership of our lives, which leads nicely into Rule 2. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping.
Okay, this one feels a bit counterintuitive. We're always told to help others, but what about helping ourselves?
It's easy to neglect our own well-being while we're busy taking care of everyone else. Peterson argues that we need to extend the same care and compassion we offer others to ourselves.
So it's like putting on your own oxygen mask first before assisting others. I guess you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Precisely. And that self-care mindset extends to the company we keep, which brings us to Rule 3. Make friends with people who want the best for you.
This one feels particularly relevant in the age of social media, where it's easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to everyone else's highlight reel.
Exactly. Peterson emphasizes the profound impact our social circle has on our lives. He's not saying dick your friends who are going through tough times, but rather to cultivate relationships with people who support your growth and inspire you to be your best self.
So it's about surrounding ourselves with people who act as mirrors, reflecting back the best version of ourselves.
That's a great way to put it. These friends challenge us, encourage us, and celebrate our victories. It's about quality over quantity.
This idea of choosing who we surround ourselves with ties in nicely with the next rule. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
That's right. Peterson highlights the trap of social comparison, especially in the age of carefully curated online personas. He argues that constantly measuring ourselves against others only leads to feelings of inadequacy and discontent.
So instead of trying to keep up with the Joneses, we should focus on our own personal growth trajectory.
Exactly. It's about celebrating our own progress, no matter how small, and acknowledging how far we've come. It's a much healthier and more sustainable approach to self-improvement.
Now, this next rule is one that often sparks debate. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. It sounds a bit harsh, but I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye.
Absolutely. Peterson dives into the often controversial topic of discipline. He argues that setting clear boundaries and teaching children accountability is essential for their development.
So it's not about being a tyrannical parent, but rather about guiding children towards becoming responsible adults.
Precisely. It's about giving them the tools they need to navigate the complexities of life and become contributing members of society.
I can see how that ties into his overall philosophy of taking responsibility for ourselves and our actions.
And that leads perfectly into Rule 6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. This one is a call for self-reflection before pointing fingers at others.
It's about acknowledging our own flaws and working on ourselves before trying to fix everyone.
Exactly. It's a reminder that lasting change starts from within. We can't expect to create a better world if we haven't addressed the chaos in our own lives.
So before we go on a crusade to change the world, we should start by cleaning up our own metaphorical backyards.
Precisely. It's about taking ownership and focusing on what we can control before trying to solve everyone else's problems.
So we've covered 6 rules already, and I'm already feeling the need to stand up straighter and maybe reevaluate my social media feed.
That's the power of Peterson's work. It challenges us to examine our lives and make conscious choices that lead to greater meaning and fulfillment.
And we've only just begun.
And we've only just begun. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive into the remaining 6 rules, including some unexpected wisdom about telling the truth, listening attentively, and, yes, even petting cats.
I'm ready to go deeper. Rule number 7, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient, really struck a chord with me. It seems to be a call to prioritize purpose over immediate gratification.
You've hit the nail on the head. There's this pervasive idea in our culture that happiness is about chasing pleasure and comfort. But Peterson argues that true fulfillment comes from pursuing something larger than ourselves, something that gives our lives significance even if it involves hardship or sacrifice.
So it's about finding that thing that gets you out of bed in the morning, even if it's not always easy or enjoyable.
Exactly. Peterson draws inspiration from the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who believed that suffering is an inevitable part of life. But having a sense of meaning, a reason for enduring those hardships, makes all the difference. It gives us resilience and strength to face those challenges head on.
So it's not about avoiding suffering altogether, but rather about finding something that makes that suffering worthwhile, something that gives it context and purpose.
Precisely. And that leads us to rule number 8, tell the truth or at least don't lie. This one seems pretty straightforward, but I'm guessing Peterson goes beyond just telling us not to fib.
You're right. He delves into the deeper implications of dishonesty, arguing that lies not only erode trust, but also create internal chaos. They lead to self-deception and ultimately to a distorted view of reality.
It's like building a house on a foundation of sand. Eventually, the whole structure crumbles. Honestly, even when it's difficult, is essential for building a solid foundation for our lives. It allows us to live in alignment with our values and to create genuine connections with others.
It's about being authentic and transparent both with ourselves and with the world around us.
Exactly. And speaking of authenticity, rule number 9, assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't, encourages us to approach conversations with a sense of humility and openness.
This feels particularly relevant today when it's so easy to get caught up in our own opinions and to dismiss those who hold different views.
It's about recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer, even if we don't agree with them. Listening attentively with the assumption that we might learn something new expands our understanding of the world and allows us to connect with others on a deeper level.
It's about stepping outside of our echo chambers and engaging with diverse perspectives.
Precisely. Now, rule number 10, be precise in your speech, might seem a bit technical at first glance, but it ties in beautifully with the idea of truth and authenticity.
I can see how using language precisely can help us clarify our thoughts and communicate our ideas more effectively.
That's exactly Peterson's point. He argues that precise language is essential for clear thinking and for taking meaningful action. When we're vague or imprecise, it can lead to confusion, misunderstandings, and even inaction.
So it's about choosing our words carefully and being deliberate in our communication.
Precisely. And that precision allows us to move from complaining about problems to actually identifying and addressing them.
Now get ready for this one because rule number 11 might seem a bit out there. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding.
Don't worry, this isn't about promoting reckless behavior. Peterson uses this seemingly simple rule to address a much broader issue, the importance of allowing young people, particularly young men, to take risks and learn from their mistakes.
It's about understanding that failure is a necessary part of growth and that overprotecting children can actually hinder their development.
Exactly. By allowing them to face challenges and overcome obstacles, we equip them with the resilience and confidence they need to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life.
It's about fostering a sense of adventure and encouraging them to push their boundaries in a safe and supportive environment.
Precisely. Now we've reached the final rule, and perhaps the most unexpected of them all. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street.
This one seems like a bit of a curveball, but I'm sensing there's a deeper meaning hidden beneath the surface.
You're absolutely right. Peterson uses this rule to remind us of the importance of finding joy and beauty in the everyday moments. Amidst the chaos and suffering that life inevitably throws our way, there are always small moments of peace and connection to be found.
It's about appreciating those simple pleasures and allowing ourselves to be present in the moment.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even amidst the complexities of life, there are still things that can bring us a sense of peace and wonder.
Wow, what a journey. Through the world of lobsters and cleaning our rooms and even petting cats on the street, who knew self-improvement could be so philosophical and, dare I say, entertaining?
Jordan Peterson certainly has a knack for making us think differently about everyday life, doesn't he? It's not just about offering quick fixes or feel-good platitudes. He really digs into the complexities of human nature and the age-old struggle between order and chaos.
And what I appreciate is that he doesn't shy away from those tough questions about meaning, purpose, and responsibility. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind and lose sight of those bigger picture ideas.
It is, and Peterson's 12 rules, they offer a framework for reorientating ourselves, for stepping back and asking those fundamental questions about how we want to live our lives.
So after this deep dive, what are some key takeaways that our listeners can apply to their own lives? What's that one nugget of wisdom they can take with them as they walk away from this episode?
Well, I think the overarching message is that personal transformation requires effort, intentionality, and a willingness to confront both our strengths and our weaknesses. It's about taking responsibility for ourselves, choosing our influences wisely, and striving to live in alignment with our values.
And recognizing that the journey of self-improvement is ongoing, right? It's not about reaching some perfect state of being, but rather about continuously striving to become a better version of ourselves.
Exactly. It's about embracing the process of growth, learning from our mistakes, and finding meaning even in the midst of challenges. And yes, maybe even taking a moment to appreciate the simple joy of petting a cat on the street.
Beautifully said. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today exploring Peterson's 12 rules for life and their implications for navigating the complexities of the modern world.
We hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought and perhaps even a few practical tools to apply in your own life.
If you're intrigued by Jordan Peterson's work and want to delve deeper into his thought-provoking ideas, be sure to grab a copy of 12 Rules for Life using the link in the show notes.
And as always, don't forget to subscribe to Books and Bites for more deep dives into fascinating books that will spark your curiosity and keep you engaged. Until next time, happy reading and keep those minds hungry for knowledge.